Everyone has tough weeks, and you clicking on this video may be exactly for that reason, but don't click off just yet, because let me tell you, I also had a tough week, and you're not alone. I got into a car accident, I had all my midterms, I was studying, and meetings were piling up. And that helped me realize that during those tough weeks, everyone turns to something, and Stoicism was exactly that. As a reflection of the tough weeks that you and I have, here are 3 Stoic principles that you can utilize next time you have one of those tough weeks. Principle 1 is going to be about fate, and Marcus Aurelius commented on this in Meditations on Book 4, Chapter 10. He said that every event is the right one. Look closely and you'll see, not just the right one overall, but right, as if someone had weighed it out with scales. Although we suffer days that are bad in the moment, almost every single time in the long run, they turn out to be beneficial for us. We grow in character, we gain mental strength and resilience, and better things can spring as a result of that negative event. Sure, those days are bad in the moment, but if you just wait a little bit and give a little bit of patience, you'll slowly begin to realize and routinely begin to realize how beneficial those negative weeks are for where you are currently. Studying endlessly could be bad and terrible in the moment, but after a week or 2 passes, you realize that you needed that. Those were beneficial because now you know all the material. Principle 2 is gratitude, and Epictetus once said this in his passage in the Complete Works of Epictetus, page 430. He says, "He is a man of sense who does not grieve for what he has not, but rejoices in what he has." The day is long, strenuous, and difficult, but that doesn't stop us from being grateful for our situation. You can be grateful and rejoice for what you have now by looking at circumstances that are worse than yours. Although mainly not a real Stoic practice, it does help with gratitude. Epictetus once said that life's great gift is life itself, and by waking up every day, that is one thing minimum that we can be grateful for. Although cliche, he does have a point. Look at the situation you're in and picture some imaginary but worse circumstances, and you'll realize and begin to appreciate that your situation isn't as bad as you think. For example, I got into a car accident, but I wasn't injured. It could have been much worse, as it was on the highway. I could have been dead, but I'm not, and that makes me grateful for being alive. Now, the last principle is principle 3, and it's about discipline. Marcus Aurelius had a lot of quotes about discipline, but I find this one to be the most powerful. In Meditations, Book 8, Chapter 36, he says the following: "Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Don't try to picture everything bad that could possibly happen. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it?" And you'll be embarrassed to answer. Now, there is some overlap between principle 2 and principle 3 about imagining bad situations, but I'll explain the difference shortly. As for discipline, in a rough time, there's no need to overthink about what situations may come. What happens, happens, and if it does happen, deal with it only when it does. Stick with your current situation and figure out how to solve it. Only deal with an extra situation that you need to solve when the problem actually arises. You'll begin to find that your answers are more straightforward and you waste less time on imaginary situations that may not even ever occur in the first place. Going back to what I previously said, I wanted to quickly mention the difference between imagining bad situations between principle 2 on gratitude and principle 3 on discipline. In gratitude, thinking of other bad situations is only meant to compare your current situation to something that could have been worse. That doesn't mean, though, that that situation will happen. In discipline, however, thinking of other situations are negative for you as it results in overthinking, simply because, and this is the difference, in discipline, you think that situation might happen. Think of other situations only when you're using it for gratitude and not for overthinking the future. These 3 principles provide a solid foundation for enduring and persisting throughout those tough weeks. So going forward, have these principles by your side, as when you go through another tough week, you'll find the mental strength to keep going, and you'll realize that that week isn't as bad as it seems.